If you're looking to get into more commercial productions as well as content retainers, this video is for you. Right now, I know a lot of real estate media agencies. We do a lot of listings. We do photos and videos of listings, but there's a lot of other adjacent companies that we can serve, construction companies, companies that are building ADUs, kitchen, fabricators, staging companies, companies that need content to build a brand. Those are all clients and prospects that we can be going after. And so in this video, I do a consultation with the team at Real 3D Media, Cam, Keegan, and Carter, the team there, on how they can improve their offering, their sales process, how they can go about their proposals, their follow-ups, and position themselves as a solution for the marketing and media side of these larger companies, these construction companies, these kitchen fabricators. They could be easily doing, anywhere between $2 to $5 to $10 million a year, and oftentimes they don't have marketing in place. And this is an opportunity for you to get into marketing as their go-to one-stop shop solution.
Just trying to ramp it up now, man. Sales is something we've never really taken the time to dial in, and we're finally at the point where if we want to hit 7 figures next year, that is something we need to have dialed in. So we have HubSpot pretty much, the base level of it set up. We got all of our contacts in there. We got our sales pipeline set up, starting to put our deals in there. Carter is going to be leading our efforts on it and going to be exploring it over the next week to really understand it. But just wanted to understand how Aerial Canvas best uses it, what you guys do on the sales side in terms of targeting. If we're talking specifically for CPD and content projects, who are you targeting? Any insight you can give us on the direction we should take here?
Yeah, for sure. So, we never scaled CPD too far in the general business direction. A lot of those opportunities were just from not by chance, but because, I had my contacts outside of it, and I would be like, hey, you need a commercial, hey, you need a video. And by chance, those opportunities would fall into place. We mainly focus CPD, and we still do on real estate.
Okay.
And, just intuitively, the people that would spend money on CPD are the ones that either have a big brand, a big brokerage, or, big listing, or, they're just a larger team or more influential agent that wants to make a larger impression. And it would be part of our workflow, right? Anytime there's a nice listing, we're going to be asking, hey, is there an opportunity for us to film, maybe bring some actors in or do something cool on this listing? Anytime we identify a nicer listing, we're asking that question. Even if it wasn't a super, super nice listing, if there was an opportunity, hey, do you normally list in this area? Do you normally, what are the amenities nearby this listing? And they're like, oh, there's this, this, and this. Oh, that's so cool. What if we filmed you, at these different locations and did something, and something that's still accessible. I would say our standard CPD project would start around the 1,500. And, I don't know if that translates to 1,200 to where you're at, or if you're trying to go for something completely large at the 10, 20, 50K type deals, which is a different sales process. So that's the sales process for listings. And then you'll be surprised, sometimes I just threw it by them and they're like, yeah, let's go all out 10K, because for them, on a $5 million listing, they might make 150,000 or something. 10K is to get this big pillar video portfolio piece. They're down to swing it because they're just thinking yeah, I'm making a bunch of money on this one. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. So off the top of my head, that is something that I've thought about. We are in a very cheap market here in Rochester. So the agents that we work with, I don't see that I see opportunity in it. I don't see opportunity in that taking us to the scale we want to take. So I think the direction we are trying to take is businesses that have bigger budgets. And for example, we're working with a luxury stair and railing company that found us on social media, and they have a massive budget. They're probably a 8-figure company, and Just the revenue potential from this client alone, how much, like, what do we think this year we'll make off of them? Like,
I don't know, for this whole year.
30 grand maybe?
Yeah, I mean, if he was a little bit more dialed, it could easily be 50 to 100.
So like the type of clients I think that we're most interested are these businesses who, because he reached out to us, so he clearly needs our services and has all these projects that he sent to us. He's like, I want to do this, and it's more of us being able to like bring them down to earth and be like, okay, this is the plan we're gonna do for you. But there's so much potential in just this one client. So I'm just trying to think of like if we
can. I would say, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. One is I can help you evaluate that, and I can help you like try to maximize that. Ultimately, these small businesses, what they care about is like what is the results. Like I think there's two forms of CPD. There's the CPD that people are selling like fancy art and like brand like visual branding, and then there's the CPD that's just like running commercials, running ads, helping them, like really improve their business through visual communication, right? Whether it's visual communication on the training side, right? If they're about to bring on 10 team members next year and they don't really have like a dialed in training, like saying, hey, we'll come in, we'll interview X, Y, and Z in your company, we'll help to understand how your systems work, and we'll create like a more guided, training system. And that alone it's a CBD-esque project, but it's more like has a business solution and a business case that you can make. Be like, hey, how much time does it take for you to onboard? Hey, what if we can speed up onboarding by like just speed up and automate onboarding by a week? How much is that worth for you? If like that's one, if that's like, if they're about to hire 10, 20 people, right, in a course of a year, that's worth like, let's just say $1,000 per person. That's a $10,000-$20,000 project that you can propose, like, hey, and then they, after the first year, it just pays for itself over and over because they have this digitized training, right? On the other side, I have two partners, Ridge Kraus. I don't know if you follow Ridge. Ridge and the guy yesterday, Julian, they both like are helping their students consistently sell the 1,500, 5K, 10, like even more content retainers that tie together like ads for the business. And when you find to sell that, like it's easy to scale up because you can like identify a client avatar. We help construction companies get more leads, with these types of ads or these types of commercials. And that's a CPD that I think like isn't the art, but it makes more money, if that makes sense. And it's easier to get the clients because the clients are like, boom, you can make me more money, I want that, as opposed to selling them a commercial where they're like, yeah, I mean, there's some people that think it's valuable, but like more people are gravitating towards the slightly cheaper, less produced content, but the ones that they can like post more on social, post more, and get more like leads or conversations going. And that's how I would actually go about CPD if I were you, is like find your ideal client avatar or industry that you want to serve, whether it's like manufacturing companies, like, like you can help a kitchen company, you can help like all of these different companies and be like, hey, we understand your demographic, we understand you want to communicate to wholesale vendors, you want to communicate to developers, you want to communicate to like I don't know, like high-end homeowners. Like we can create messaging around each one of those, and it's also like in a similar industry, right? Like if you're doing clothing brands all of a sudden and doing, like travel documentaries, and then all of a sudden doing like, cabinetry, company that like manufacturing, it's going to be tough for you to build momentum, because it's just understanding their business itself, like that's going to make or break your ability to come in as a true expert to them. right? Versus just a filmmaker or just a videographer that's making stuff pretty, right? And that can interview.
Yep. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And we've had that discussion amongst ourselves of really trying to understand the client we're working with. Even if that's like one or two different niches rather than like just every local business in our area, because it's impossible to like understand that many clients on a intimate level. So that makes a ton of sense. And we have another call with another manufacturing company that actually the connection came through the podcast, and another big company, they have a big budget. So we're starting the initial thoughts of thinking that might be a good niche to target.
Yeah.
So that's something we'll have to figure out. But I guess my next question for like Carter, as he's starting his sales efforts, you talked about KPIs and like making sure we have things we're tracking. Like what should he be tracking? Right now I have our Monday KPI board set up for him tracking number of contacts he's made and then number of meetings he's scheduled as well. I don't know if there's other KPIs that he should be tracking on his end.
Yeah. So when it comes to like almost like a co-founder, it's tough to measure, because I know sometimes if you get pulled into one direction, like Carter, like you're like, if you get pulled into a project as a producer, I don't think it's even fair to expect you to make 10 calls that day because you're producing, right? Or you're doing something. So it's more so like being accountable to yourself, and just I roll up my sleeves. Like recently with the promotion of like Miami and the Columbia Mastermind, I'm waiting on my team to do outreach. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do outreach. I pinged like 200 people in the span of like 3 hours, and I got like a couple of people interested, and I'm just like, boom, I did the work, I got the result, and I did it manually. This guy was trying to, like, one of my coordinators was trying to like automate stuff. I'm like, dude, just get it done. Like,
Yeah.
And he's making excuses. He's like, oh yeah, the automations, I don't care, just manually do it then.
Yeah.
Like there's no excuses. Like, don't hide behind like, oh, I need to get this before I can do this. No, start with V1 and then iterate as you need. But I would say KPIs, like realistically, it's quality over quantity. Like a big company like Salesforce, they care about like 10 meaningful connections a day. That's their KPI. There's no like meeting set. It's just 10 meaningful connections with our ideal client profile. And that was their KPI. And I was sold on, I got sold by this guy. He wined and dined me. And his part of his culture was like, rip the credit card. Like Salesforce told him, any clients that, are on the fence, take them to like the nicest local restaurant that, you can find. And he took me to the nicest local restaurant, and he wined and dined me, and I signed up, and I fucking hated Salesforce. It was a nightmare. But I signed up, and it was like, I made like a 30K commitment, and I burned 30K on a software and the setup that never really amounted to anything. And I switched to HubSpot and got that set up within like 2 weeks. Anyways, not to derail the conversation, that can be like a KPI for like a higher level person. It's more so about quality over quantity. Like I think people get lost in the sauce, right? Like when I hire an average salesperson, I'm just like, quantity, just go after it. But if I hire a killer, I'm usually telling them to do quality. And I'm still like, I'm actually revisiting my strategy, even with like Seattle and all of these other companies. I'm like, hey, we're gonna go hit the top agent list again. Like that's where we're starting. Like, fuck this random IG DMs to random agents. Like, go whale hunting. And what led to like Aerial Canvas's initial success and my success was I literally cold called the top 100 agents in every like metro or city that we were serving. Like, I just went down the list of top producers and I called them. And once I got a few of them, like it just kind of spread like wildfire, because once you're associated with top producers, it makes the conversation so much easier, right? If you can say, I don't know manufacturing companies, but if you say you work with the best kitchen company and you work with the best cabinet company and whatever, or ADU manufacturing company, boom, all of a sudden, like, you're name dropping, like, hey, we work with Google, we work with Apple, and we work with NVIDIA. It's like, damn, okay, yeah, like, sign me up, like, right? So your goal is to try to create those case studies, and even if like, you know, doing it for a discount or doing it for doing the first like couple reels for free, just to get your foot in the door to those large companies, knowing that on the other side, it's a 50K contract, it's a 100K contract. I'm cool with giving away free work, you know, for the right client, right? Because there's friction for them. They're like, you know, we got to do this, we got to do that. So I mean, some big companies even have like a, what do you call it? Like a vendor procurement process where you got to get approved on their vendor list and blah, blah, blah. Like, but if you just come in and say, hey, it's free, and then they show their work to their boss and like, we want that, it's a lot easier for these larger companies. I can keep rambling. There's so many things I know, but like I want to make sure I'm helping you guys understand it better. I would say quality over quantity, right? Like KPIs is results most important. Like if you're generating a result, what is that number that you need to create for KPIs not to even matter that much? If you're closing 50K worth of CPD a month, I don't think fucking Cam's gonna give a fuck about how many calls you're making. If there's no if there's no CPD coming through, Cam's like, then yeah, you got to look at the actions, because the actions lead to the results. And then you would look at, you know, if you're not generating the actual revenue result, you look at the meeting set, right? How many meetings are set? How many, and meetings can be, you know, you can track it. It doesn't have to be an online meeting. It can be a, you know, a lunch meet. It can be an in-person meet. It can be, you know, another type of result where they schedule with you because, you know, you were able to attract them like to email. And then if you're not meeting an expectation from there, it might be a little bit easier. Like you can still avoid like these harder KPIs, which, you know, you used to really like kind of manage a sales team saying you got to make 30 calls a day, right? If you're meeting an expectation saying, hey, if you're setting a reasonable, like I would say, if you're meeting with higher end clientele, if you can set one meeting every 2 days, that would be a pretty strong, like my current appointment setter. If you can get me one meeting with a qualified agency for ACRE partner every other day, like I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like I'm paying around $150 per meeting, you know, whatever. You would technically be paying, you know, Carter, I don't know how much you make, but let's just say you make 80K a year. If it's taking you 2 days, that's probably 40 times 16. I can't do the math. That's like $500 per meeting potentially. But $500 per meeting, I would pay all day if you have a 10% chance to close a 100K a year client, right? You know, so like the math makes sense for the time and effort. Even more, right? Like those meetings might be worth 2K a pop. You know, at some point you'll know once you do enough volume, you're like, hey, every 10 clients we talk to or prospects we talk to about coming in as their business and try to sell it differently, right? Don't just say, hey, we want to make commercials, we want to make cool content for you. Say, hey, we can come in as a business unit. We can come in and handle all of your media strategy from start to finish. We can help you, you know, alleviate all that from your team, understand your business, understand your vision, understand your values, and help you create content around it. And that's, you know, you can be completely hands off. When you hire us, you get an entire business unit. You get a business consultant that understands media marketing, that studies studying like media buying and all that stuff. You get access to a producer, director, filmmakers, and our editing team. And we also are building out I don't know if you have a social media posting team, but we also have that, right? Or you can just partner with another company and say, we also can do social media. And then like, it's just like an all-in-one business unit. You can sell for like 12,000 a month.
Got it. Do you have questions on that before?
I don't think I have questions. I mean, I guess my thing now is like we're still a small team, and so I'm only running sales for like 3 hours a day type of thing. So like my mornings usually, and then the remaining time is like content strategy, producer. So it is a split role, and so it might be a little bit tricky in terms of like the learning curve because I can't go 100% all in on it. And I guess my question would be like, do you find, I mean, you were talking a lot about cold calling and stuff, which, you know, I'll have to get more comfortable with. I'm not that used to it, but like that versus emailing versus like mass email strategy, or like what you said would be like quality over quantity. So taking a company based on my search, marketing research, and then like learning as much as I can about the company and then creating a customized like script for that company through a good email and through Instagram DM and like multiple touch points? Or are you like, hey, it's cold call or nothing? Is that kind of like, what's your thoughts?
Omnipresence and the omni approach always works the best. I mean, it's about like sniffing out opportunities, right? If you cold call someone and like they look like they already have their marketing dialed, like there's no opportunity. But if you cold call a company and you know that they're doing 10 million a year, but you looked at their IG, you looked at their website, shit looks dated as fuck. I would cold call and be like, hey, I'm a local like agency owner. I know we never met, but I'd love to take the owner out and I'd love to rehaul your entire marketing strategy and make it a done for you service. Are you open to a conversation like that? Because your marketing currently sucks. And I know that maybe like if I were your client, I'd be turned away by like the quality of marketing that you have. If I were looking for a vendor to partner with. And like, I know that doesn't seem like the right way to do things for some people because they're like, oh, I want to be nice. No, if you can call someone out on their bullshit and they respect it, you know, like like if I'm as a founder, as a CEO of my companies, I'm looking for the consultants that can tell me you're fucking up here. You're doing it wrong here, right? I'm not looking for the ones that are placating me. Brendan, what can I help you with? I don't know. You fucking decide. Like I hired you to do the job. You tell me what I need to do. You tell me how I'm fucking up, right? And so like making that switch as a consultant, I think is pretty important. And even when you're like cold approaching, or when you're cold calling or DMing, like don't be nice and be like, hey, are you interested in video like this? I would say, I notice you don't have any video and it's 2025. Do you want a video like this, right? Like, do you have a video like this? That's the approach I would take to like get heard. Is like for you to sell anything, you got to create some level of pain. Pain is gonna like, there's that saying, right? Usain Bolt, fastest motherfucker in the world. Is he going to be run faster if he knows at the end of the finish line he can get a Nike sponsorship, or is he going to run faster because there's a fucking cheetah chasing his ass? Yeah. Right. So pain always is going to sell way better, and you're going to help you understanding that is also going to help any qualified person be like, hey, this person is someone I want on my team, right? But multiple touch points, and then once you got someone who's like is like open to a conversation, follow up, like, you know, a year of follow up. Like I'm talking about, like, you know, there's some CEOs that they're just dealing with some big movements in their company. They might have to rehire like 2 big team members, or they're firing their manager for, you know, fucking their employees. I don't know. There's always something going on at big companies, right? Yeah. And so your goal is to, you know, just stay in their ear, give them a reason to take more meetings, give them a reason to be like, to identify, you know, like, for you to create an opportunity. Maybe they had an amazing 2 months and they're like, we're too busy. We don't even need more business. But then all of a sudden Q3 hits and they're hurting and their business went down and their revenue is slumping. But they had all this money stashed up for the first 2 months, but they weren't trying to spend on marketing. But all of a sudden Q3, they're like, hey, where's that one guy? I can't find his email. Yeah. Right. And they forgot about you. But then you email them one more time, you call them one time. I was looking for you. Where you been? You know, let's do something, right? So you're like the sale is in the follow up, especially with these large accounts. Like, it's crazy what a follow up can do. We got $108,000 documentary from a follow up. My business partner, I remember before I joined Aerial Canvas. This is just a little story for inspo. I remember before I joined Aerial Canvas, my buddy was just like, oh, I'm on a boat with this big rich real estate investor. You know, he owns multiple like commercial properties here, and we're filming on a boat. And I'm like, cool, nice. Like, all right. And then fast forward a year later, I'm working with Colby at the office, and I'm like, hey, dude, who's that guy you were on a boat with? Have you talked to him recently? And then Colby's like, no. I was like, follow up with him. Ask him to go to lunch and dinner. See if there's anything else you can help him with. And Colby's like, he's probably busy. I'm like, no, just call him, do it. Let's get it done. He calls him, you know, hits it off real quick. the guy says like, hey, I actually have a project I might need your help on. I'm sponsored by Stanford Medicine. I'm doing a nonprofit, or they're it's a nonprofit project. I'm trying to raise awareness for X, Y, and Z. I'm going to be biking across America in 13 days, and I need someone. I'm looking for a film crew. We're looking to make a little documentary, Netflix documentary, like esque around it. You can look it up. It's called Until the Wheels Fall Off. And he said to Colby, and Colby relayed to me, there is no one else I would trust with this project more than you. And I'm like, dude, we got the deal, right? We got the and Colby was just like trying to come up with a day rate and all this stuff. And he's just like, oh, day rate 2,000 times 2 people, 4,000 a day times 12 days. Yeah, I think we should quote like 60K. I'm like, not bad. You do know that you're a business owner and there's a huge opportunity cost of you leaving this business. And this guy literally said that he wouldn't trust anyone but you. And also this guy's fully loaded. We need to, we need to come in with a more reasonable rate for the opportunity cost. Cause like Colby, if you were to focus on aerial canvas, we're growing pretty fast right now. We can make another 30K a month. Right. So I said, you got to come back to this guy and say, hey, it's for us to fully commit our team, you know, it's going to be 110K. Or something like that. And then, you know, I made Colby in the business 50K just from him reshifting his mindset.
That's wild.
So
that's crazy, man. Wow.
Anyways,
so I had one more thing. I know we got to dip in a second.
No worries. I love these things. You guys should just schedule these things and we can invite other people to listen and it'll be valuable to the community. If you don't mind, I'll be, if I can share this with some of the other partners, you know, that'd be cool. But I'll do like 10, I'll do like 3 of these a week if you want me to just jam out and like even help you.
We would love that. So I guess the one thing that we're still struggling with is a clear offer for what our CPD kind of division of our business is. And it sounds more like the way you and Aerial Canvas approach it is it's more customized based on the client. And my question is, because I've heard other people say that's not the most scalable way to grow a business, but obviously you guys have grown tremendously. So do you recommend customizing video work and different types of products that they need based on the client?
Yeah, for sure. I would say it's like Lego. You should have your core pieces, right? You have your short form talking head content. You have your like potentially podcast style, you know, chop it up type content. You have your, you know, 1 minute commercial, you know, optimized for landing pages, like the 2 minute, like the 1 to 5 minute business commercials that are like optimized for a landing page of like, hey, if someone's visiting the landing page for the first time and they want to learn about the company, you know, and why they should work with the company, you can have that as like a Lego piece. And then you have your pillar videos, which is like client testimonial videos, how-to videos, like how it's done, like what it's like working with this company videos. Those are usually like 2 big ones. One's like a brand video that's just like captures the vibe of the company, captures the values of the company. One is a client testimonial video which provides social proof. One is like, you know, like next steps, what it's like working with the company videos. Like, hey, like this is our process, this is how we do things, just more legitimizes your product and workflow. And like what's his name? Julian said yesterday, those like sell pillar videos and that is a product. That's if I were selling. Here's the thing, my CPD team, I haven't even coached them at this level because there was a lot of turnover. My last commercial producer is working for Google and Tencent and fucking LinkedIn and making 70K a month right now. So I coached him to a point where he closed those types of contracts and he's doing his own thing and, you know, whatever. I wish I gave him some more equity or skin in the game. But regardless, and he's not doing anything special. Literally, he's just filming a bunch of testimonials for them and like employees talking. You know, like don't over engineer it. Like that's sometimes all people want is like that. But like if you're going after more small businesses usually have less of a discretionary budget to just throw around at marketing like a LinkedIn would, you know, just like I just like film these, you know, fun Thursdays type videos, you know, or film this department and just grab a bunch of interviews about what this initiative is. You know, that type of large corporation is more lax and has a fuck you type budget. But for like smaller businesses, they're trying to know like, what does 5K get me? How's that going to make me money? And so like, if you can find a way to tie that together with like some sort of ad management where they can get X amount of leads, and you know, you kind of do a refresh every 2 months, 3 months. There's like ad fatigue, so we're going to film like, you know, 5 new commercials each quarter. You know, like short 30-minute, 1-minute commercials. And before you get started with them, saying, hey, you know, you don't even have pillar videos. We should do a brand video. We should do 3 client testimonials, and we should do, you know, 6, you know, about like, I guess, process-based videos about your company and how it works. And we can do that for 30K, and then we can do the quarterly for like, you know, 8K or something like that, right? Or 15K. Like, I'm just, you literally can make up numbers at some point, and I make up numbers based off how big the company is. If I can run commercials, and I'm speaking from more of a consultation experience. I actually, from a strategy experience, I don't do this because my focus is currently elsewhere. I have friends that do it, and I've talked through them through how they do proposals, and I do have that experience. But that's how I would sell CPD. I would say, hey, we need to like redo your foundation. Here's foundation. You need this. You need these 3 pieces, these like 2 pillar or these 5 pillar videos, 1 about video, 3 client testimony videos, like 2 about videos. We can do that for, if you want it high end produced, like 30K, 20K, 15K. Which one would you like to start with?
Yep.
And then from there, we should do monthly refreshes, you know, of your content. And then you can be like, hey, your pillar videos, you know, we'll work with your website guy, and we'll get it on the front page, on your about pages, on your service pages, and then we can have it part of your email as well. And we'll also empower, like, you have a sales team. This will empower your sales team to sell more as well, right? Like, and that there you can start selling, you know, just with some rough numbers. Hey, you know, it's not hard science, but if we can increase your sales team's close rate by 20% this year, how much revenue would that be? Oh, your sales team sells $2 million a year, 2.4 million. Okay, if we're going to increase your revenue by 400,000, is it worth 30K? Boom, that's how I'd sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gold.
Yeah, that answered every question that I think we had, and it sounds like what, you know, the approach we're taking with this luxury stairs and railings company is exactly that. It's like, all right, tell us about you, and we're going to tell you what we think our services can do for you, and like actually plan out what products that they need in their business. So that's gold, that what you just said.
Yeah, for sure. Just make sure you dig deep, you know, like the more you can be a business consultant, the more you can get paid, right? Think more of a bit as a business consultant with like trying to get the numbers, like what does their sales process look like? What does their sales team look like? What is like look at their website and be like, you got nothing here. Like, if I'm visiting, I don't even know why I would pick you over, pull up their biggest competitor. Look at this competitor and what they're doing, right?
Yep.
If you can find like a competitor in their niche that has all these videos, you know, and you're their first video option because you're sitting right in front of them, then it's going to be like, yeah, we need to do at least half of what this competitor has.
Got it. Thank you, brother.
Yep. You're super welcome. I mean, this stuff it's fun for me. So whenever you guys need support, I'm here.
Love it.
Appreciate you, man.
Awesome.